Our guest this episode is a highly experienced marketing manager who's worked at such companies as Samsung, Dursi, and Calyx. He's also a gold level certified trade show marketer and manages the CTSM portfolio program with Exhibitor Group. Here to talk trade shows and share his passion for this powerful and prestigious designation, please welcome to the podcast, Chris Bruce. Welcome to the Engaging Personalities Podcast. I'm Anders Belanger, founder and CEO of Engagify, where we're on a mission to rehumanize business through engagement. We believe that we can all be more successful if we can command attention and deepen connection. So stick around to the end of the show and we'll reveal how you can be our next guest on a future episode. So let's get ready to engage.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you having me on today. This is an exciting opportunity for me.
Okay, cool. Well, it's so good to have you here. And we were just talking, before the show started, and I always feel like I should always say, hey, we're going to start right off the bat. Because sometimes you start talking about things that are good.
Right.
And we're going to talk about you wearing two hats in a sense that you do, you're working with your current company, managing the trade shows and not even that, but like the marketing behind that as well. So it's not just the event side of things. You're looking at it from a higher level, I think.
Right.
And then at the same time, you are managing the portfolio program for the certified trade show marketing designation.
Yes.
And so let's kind of let's peel back the onion a little bit. Start at the start. You got into trade shows. How did you? Is this something you always wanted to do, or how did you come into it?
No, and I think I'm probably the same as about 95% of those people out there. I had a marketing coordinator job, and they said, hey, we need somebody to manage our trade show program. Chris, take it on. And so I did. And at the time, I was working for a corporate credit union, and we did 100 to 150 smaller shows and events a year. And it was, it was really turn and burn, 10-foot booths, very similar kind of stuff. And that was really how I got into it. And I really enjoyed it. I would go occasionally to a show. We were mostly regional. And so I would drive to Arkansas. I would drive to smaller shows. And that was really how I got into it. Until I landed at a company called AMX, a technology company that was later purchased by Harman, which was later purchased by Samsung. And we were doing big 70 by 80 double-decker $1 million booths, infocoms, traveling around the world. It was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. So from there, I ended up over at Dursi, did a spell at Dursi on that side of the fence. But really and truly, I like this side of the fence, as I say, actually doing the events and being responsible for putting the marketing together around it. So that was kind of my experience. Now, when I was at AMX, I discovered the CTSM program back in 2013, I guess it was. And it was a perfect fit. As most trade show people, we're kind of in a silo. I'm the only trade show person in my company. I don't really get to talk to anybody else who understands what I do. And so when I would go to the exhibitor, it was a great opportunity to network and meet other people who actually knew what I was talking about.
The exhibitor show, right? Exhibitor Live show put on by the Exhibitor Group. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And, you attend the classes, and that was where, inevitably somebody would ask, hey, how many of you people, who picked this? Who decided they want to do this? And that was when it was really, really was eye-opening that none of us picked this. It just kind of fell into our laps. Funny story. I'm actually training a young lady as a trade show coordinator right now for my current company. She's never even set foot on a trade show floor. And I thought, oh, this is great. And I told her, I was like, you're like a little ball of clay. I get to mold you entirely, and I love this. Fortunately, she's a really sharp person, and she's making it easy for me, so I'm enjoying it. But
that's great. Yeah. So go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, and I've told her a time or two, you really need, if you enjoy this, you need to go the route of the certified trade show marketer. It really is imperative. So, and I'm sure you and I will get in a little deeper about my passion about the program. So,
yeah. Well, and I think you really, hit the nail on the head there, where the fact that people fall into this role, and just from my experience, and I shared this with you on a phone call before, but of our clients, maybe I think two are certified trade show marketers, and out of oh, I don't know, I'm trying to think of how many over the years, right? So
Right,
it'd be
right.
upwards of 100 probably, right? So it's like, and we hang out in tech a lot, so I think in tech it's such a fast moving industry, right, that
Right,
people like fall into it, and you're lean and you're a startup, and okay, go, you're going to do the trade shows, so it's like people fall into it even more so there.
right.
But to know that there is best practices, there is not only that, but just all this education and these things that you need to know to be able to optimize your results,
Sure,
to
sure.
do it right. So let's talk about when you went through the CTSM program. What were some of the big ahas for you that you're like, oh my goodness, right? Like like I didn't never thought of that, or something along those lines.
Well, so there are two veins to trade show marketing. Well, trade shows. First of all, there's the logistics. And most of us, when we're hired and they say, hey, take on the trade shows, that's really and truly what they're looking for us to do is just handle the logistics. And that's fine. But really and truly, the backbone of the CTSM program is to move over to basically, you want to find a way to sit at the decision maker's table. And the way to do that is to start drawing attention to the show, bringing customers to the booth, measuring the success of the different shows that you're attending, and ultimately reporting those successes back. Early in my days, we went to certain trade shows. We go because we've always gone, and that's the way it is. Really and truly, a lot of the decision makers are basically, hey, I want to go to Vegas, I want to go to Orlando, and I want to go to Chicago. Those are fun cities. And that's how decisions are made. But really and truly, as a marketing trade show manager, what you want to do is to be able to say, hey, look, remember that time you said you wanted to go to Florida and I sent you to Florida? Well, it cost us X thousands of dollars and it really wasn't a very effective show for you. Let's do something a little bit different. And now all of a sudden you're bringing value to the table. And for me, I took the role as trade show manager and, hey, Chris, just ship the stuff and receive it and pack it back up and send it again. And that was perfectly fine. That was all they were looking for. It wasn't until I started coming back and saying, now, why are we doing this show? What's the value in this? I have always been very analytical. And so that helped me a lot to be able to quantify and figure out why are we doing each of these individual shows, more so than just we want the salespeople to have fun.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Ideally, you'd be deliver some, value for the company.
right,
But I like this idea though that you're going from almost like an order taker
that's
within
exactly
within the corporate structure of the company, to just make things happen and check boxes,
right.
and ship boxes in a sense, right? Check boxes and ship boxes. To, like you said, having a seat at the table, and actually giving input on
Well, so
what's going to move
there's
the
a whole
needle.
different there's a whole different feeling. As an order taker, you literally are just taking orders and you're kind of helpless. If something happens in the market and all of a sudden somebody, some decision maker says, hey, we need to stop going to trade shows, you're at their mercy. But
Yeah.
if you have proven yourself to have a seat at the decision maker's table, now all of a sudden they're looking at you a little bit differently. They'll say, hey, we need to quit going to trade shows. And now you've got data to support. Now, wait a minute. Not, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Some of these shows are very important for us to go for other reasons other than just generate leads.
Hmm.
So, getting to that decision maker's table and being able to have the conversations that matter, and being able to say, this is a good thing for you to do, this is not a good thing for you to do, that proves to be, there's your value add right there. And that's an important spot to try and get to in your career and in your life. So I
Yeah.
do think
And
I think it's important.
And you're right. Like there is this kind of professional development piece to it that, I mean, everyone needs professional development in whatever industry or whatever role they're in.
Right.
I
Right.
think one of the things and one of the reasons we wanted to get together on this podcast is to kind of raise that profile of the
Right.
certified trade show marketing designation, the fact that there is professional development for people who do this kind of thing. And by
Exactly.
doing that, you are, I feel like you're growing up your leadership skills too, and your ownership really of wielding a pretty hefty, marketing or a percentage of the marketing budget in a lot of ways, right? Like dollar for
Absolutely.
dollar, the trade show marketing people at a company are, they're responsible for a lot. There's a lot on their shoulders, and so
Even yeah,
showing how they can,
even in
yeah.
small programs, the trade show budget is such a huge chunk of the marketing spend. And people they take for granted exactly what all it is that goes into the trade show program. They just recognize that, man, it costs a lot of money. So you really have to deliver the results. And what, when we were talking before, your accountant is certified, your doctor has a degree, you go to school for these kind of things. And early on as a trade show manager, there was a lot of the back end, the marketing communications that you really, there's a blueprint for this, believe it or not. Almost every, as I'm reviewing portfolios, there really is a formula that goes into what makes a good portfolio. And 99% of the portfolios I read, they have to have each of these components. There's a little bit of difference between each one.
Can I just say, Chris,
Yeah.
just before you talk about portfolios, can you explain what that's about? Because for the listener out there who's kind of going, well, now what's this portfolio thing? And that'll
Okay.
kind of touch on what you help out with
Right.
exhibitor
Right.
too. So explain that.
So the process of the CTSM program is, first and foremost, you take classes and learn what it takes to be a trade show expert. You're going to learn everything from how to put graphics together, how to handle logistics, the marketing communications. What emails do you need to be sending to draw people to your booth? The analytics. What do you need to be measuring behind the scenes? Is this just are you sending an existing booth? Are you developing a new booth? All the stuff that goes into being a good, solid trade show program. And then after you take these classes, there's a total of 30 classes, I believe. And some of them are elective, so you can also, there's different nuances that you're going to have. Then you're going to take a comprehensive final exam. And the last piece of the project is you're going to put together your own personal portfolio. And what that is you talk a little bit about yourself, about your company, about your trade show program, and then you're going to take one particular show that you're doing, and you're going to talk about, the importance of this particular show. You're going to talk about the marketing communications that goes out. What steps? What are you going to do before the show? What are you going to do at the show? And what are you going to do after the show? You're going to talk about the analytics. What's going to look like success? And this is before the show. What's going to look like success? And then you're going to measure that after the show. And you're going to talk about what can we do to improve this program? What went well? What needs to be improved? And that's a comprehensive portfolio. It's the equivalent of a master's thesis. They're going to be 60 to 80 pages in length, and it usually takes people anywhere between 6 months and a year to write it. And it truly is an analysis of you. When you're looking at job boards and somebody says, hey, I'm looking for a CTSM to host my program, chances are good they're going to be looking at your portfolio compared to 2 or 3 other portfolios. So it really is a comprehensive analysis of your expertise in the program. So once you go through all that, what's amazing to me and what I found is I had all these ideas swimming around in my head about what do we need to do to be successful at a show. The CTSM program really kind of laid it out and created that blueprint, if you will, of what you need to do.
Wow.
So
Yeah. And I think about that portfolio as you were talking about, applying for a job that is asking for someone with the CTSM designation, which is amazing in a sense of like, let's raise that bar,
it really is.
for that, right? But
Right.
then if they were looking for an event manager without even saying CTSM, because even sometimes those companies don't know that exists, right? So, but you come in with your portfolio, bam, like you're not going to throw it on the table, but I'm pretending we throw it on the table in front of
Exactly.
them, and it's like, holy crap, that
Well,
this is got
yes.
some substance to it, right? And comparing
Well,
that to
and
people who haven't done it, right? So,
frankly, let me flip the script a little bit.
sure.
When interviewing at a company who did not specifically say, I'm looking for a CTSM, now all of a sudden I'm going in saying, okay, why are you not requiring a CTSM? What are you looking for? Are you just looking for a logistics person? Or did you want somebody who can elevate your trade show program? Are you not measuring the success of your program? And all of a sudden it flips the script, and instead of being, trying to prove myself, now I'm having the company, what's going on with your program? It could be a lot better. So
I love that move, Chris. It's a you kind of just like neutralize the competition, right? And
right,
just they're gone now, and
exactly.
you're actually showing value and how you could be bringing value to the table even before you begin, right?
But
So,
there's a sad piece of this, that all too often when I'm having that conversation with the hiring manager, their response is, I didn't even know this program was there.
right.
And I think that in a lot of cases, the Exhibitor Live is mainly marketing right now. We're marketing to the trade show manager. Let's help you with your career. What I
Mm-hmm.
think should be happening is we should be marketing to the C-suites, to the marketing executives. They need to know about this program. I think it would be far more successful if those people knew that the certification existed. I think that they would say, you know what, this is very important. We are spending, X number of dollars on our marketing program and our trade show program. We need to be able to make sure that that's effective. And
Mm-hmm.
all of these people, all the C-suites, all the marketing managers, they're all very analytical. To be able to say to them, oh, hey, by the way, here's the analytics for your trade show program, they would be ecstatic. They
Mm-hmm.
just don't necessarily know that this exists. And so my goal is, let's get those people to know that this program exists.
Well,
That's
I'm thinking about this in my head as you're talking, Chris, and it's kind of like, what, maybe they'll take the recording of this podcast or this video and they'll say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Marketing Director or VP of Marketing or CMO or whoever it's going to be, take a look at this because
right,
this is what it's about, right?
right,
And
right,
and when I think about our clients at Engageify, the ones that are CTSMs, we have a very deep level of connection with those clients, with that particular person, because we're so much on the same page. Not that
right.
I'm a CTSM, but that we deliver value and we talk the same language.
Exactly.
When we work with that company, and then there's sometimes I come in with a company, and I'm kind of like, do you have this? No, we don't know what that. Like, there's so many gaps and holes that there's a little bit of me going like, oh boy, like
Right.
and so the idea that there is a level of optimization or a level that is really unknown, and where could that put a company, in terms of generating leads, that whole taking market share at these, in-person and trade shows, right?
It's trade shows are such an incredible aspect. There are some companies I get, some companies don't really benefit from being trade shows, but the vast majority of them, I mean, if you consider, and the easiest example we give is, how much does it cost to send a salesperson, put them on a plane and send them out to see a customer and bring them back? That's an expensive proposition. Well, now you're in a trade show and you could have 24 potential customers there. think about the cost savings in that. So there really is, but you have to maximize. And you know, a lot of times what's happening is the marketing team is told, just get us there and let the salespeople take it over from there. Well, okay, that's not as effective. I mean, it's gotten to the point now to where with a lot of programs that I have, I'll go in and say, hey, look, sales team, this person is fantastic at trade shows. This person over here, not so much. I don't want to send this guy if he's not going to be overly effective. He's hurting me. If we send him and he's not nearly as effective, that hurts the trade show program, not just him. So it really does. Again, it helps you get back to the decision makers table. And I think that when all is said and done, the CMOs, you know, the marketing directors, that's exactly what they want, is an effective program. And all they have to do is demand it. You know, again, as the CTSM candidate, I'm going to go and I'm trying to get my certification. But a lot of times life gets in the way and it's hard to do that. But if my boss is saying, hey, you've got to get this certification, you know, your salary, your pay raises, everything is based on your level of knowledge of what you do. And therefore, you need to be certified. Well, if I had that person behind me pushing, obviously, it's going to be a little bit more, you know, I'm going to have a bit more drive to get it. And so that's why I say that we need the marketing managers demanding that people get their certification, because it's what's best for the company. And then I think it'll really take off.
Yeah, I mean, there's two different. You do need that two different ways of looking at it. Whether it's, you know, a corporate initiative, right,
Right.
that is pushing professional development, training, that sort of thing, and bringing this in as a piece. And then there's that personal development, responsible for yourself,
Right.
professional development side of things too, right? Where if you go, hey, I want to be the best I can be at what I'm doing, right? Now,
Yep.
if it has to come out of pocket, that's an issue. That's kind of a thing. Can you, is that something we'd be comfortable with talking about a little bit? Like, what is this? Can we talk a little bit about the program? You talked a little bit about, you know, the courses and that sort of thing, but what is the rough cost, if we can say that?
Well, yeah. So honestly, it kind of depends on how you attack it. I mentioned that there's 30 classes that need to be taken. 23 of them are core classes, and 7 of them are electives. In order to accomplish that, you can go to Exhibitor puts on an annual event. You can go to that, and you can get probably 13 or 14 classes by going to that. And I think the attendance for that's probably, you know, $2,200, somewhere around there. So you can get, you know, just under half of the classes that you need. So let's say you go to 2 of those events. You can go to the Exhibitor Live. They're also starting to do what's called Education Week, which is, you know, it's another full comprehensive week where you can get, and I think you're probably going to be able to get 13 to 14 classes there as well. There is also e-tracks where you can take webinar events that, you know, you can take those online, and Exhibitor will host those. So soup to nuts, you can probably get through the program at, I would say under about $5,000.
Yeah.
So a full certification through the program would probably run you about $5,000. Now I'll tell you, I have only seen a couple of few people who have done that out of pocket. Most of the time, it is a company paying for it because it is a valuable certification. Most people have continued education in their budget. The problem that I see is a lot of people and companies are treating this as a one and done. You know, I sent you last year. Do you really need to go back this year? Well, okay, so you're thinking that I went and I took classes and that's all I need, but really and truly, we're going after certification. And certification takes all the classes. So that's where the disparity between the employee and the company happens. And that's one of the challenges of the program. So if the and that's a frustration that I have, is so many people will start the program but will never complete their portfolio and finish. And when people register to start writing their portfolio and don't finish, my question is, does your boss know that they've foot the bill for nearly $5,000 in classes and you haven't completed? They don't.
Right. Yeah.
They really
You got to
don't.
bring it to conclusion. And,
Right.
again, it needs to almost reminds me a lot of when you go to a conference website or something and they have a letter that says, convince your boss to go. Right. Like it's this kind of idea that, to win over your management to send you to this show, you kind of need that endorsement and just a through line through the whole process, right? And almost like a sponsor, that is in on it and is a shareholder, right?
Right.
In that sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, like I say, I would bet 95% of the people that I talk to, it is company sponsored. And a lot of people, especially through this pandemic and through this economy, they've changed companies. And so a lot of times you may start the program with one company and move to another, and you are going to need to convince them that, hey, look, this is an important part of my life's goals, and it will benefit you, and I need to finish this program. So it really is important to get the support of the company most of the time. But again, like I say, the companies need to be demanding this. They really do. So
Okay. So Chris, we've talked about, why people would want to, get their CTSM designation, right? You're in that space, to better job prospects, better results for the company, right? There's all that sort of things, just the professional development side of things.
right,
Having a seat at the table
right,
was a big thing that you talked about. We talked about what it is and really how we kind of go about doing that, going to the courses, which is at Exhibitor Live, which is at the Education Week. By the way, if anyone's listening to this, you're probably going to take a course from me at some point because I'm doing the How to Train Your Boost Staff part of the
right.
curriculum. And you might even see me in a few other things for your electives. So you can, and then the e-track side of things. So they're doing that. They're working on that. They get the portfolio done. And then, what do you think? What is some of the results? What are some of the stories that when people have got their CTSM, where have they gone? What have they done? Because I know there's levels to it too, right? So maybe we could
Absolutely.
speak to those next steps,
Right, right. So it definitely will represent a pay increase for you. Whether it does at your current company or when you move on. We talked a little bit about me flipping the script on, at a job interview. It really does change the conversation because you're not just hiring a logistics person, you're hiring somebody that the expectation is you're going to bring value to our program. So there's definitely an expertise and a pay increase that's going to happen as a result of this certification, just like anything else. If you're just a doctor and you're an intern, you're not getting paid nearly as much as when you're full blown heart surgeon kind of thing. So there's definitely that. You talked a little bit about the continued steps. After you get your certification, you take another 10 hours worth of classes, and you're going to get your bronze certification. 10 more, you're going to get your silver certification, and all of these are basically electives. And so you're going to be able to select, well, they are electives. You're going to be able to select exactly what applies most to you. And in fact, depending on, what your particular program, what the strengths are, you may be going after stuff that you're not so good at, to try and develop those aspects. And so you can get your bronze, you can get your silver, and then you get your gold after 30 points. That really and truly is the backbone of the education portion. Now, there is a very elite group of folks that go on and become diamond. And what they're doing is they're giving back to not just the CTSM, but the trade show industry at large. So through a series of points, evaluations, we will have people sit and advise other people through their portfolio process. So when you start your portfolio process, you're going to be a little bit lost on, we've got checklists and stuff, but really and truly what you need is somebody who's going to sit by your side and help you get it written. So we'll give you an advisor, and the advisor will help walk you through step by step. They'll read through your portfolio as you're developing each section and tell you, this could be better, this could be tightened up, you didn't mention this, that kind of thing. And the more times you're advising and volunteering, you're going to ultimately end up with the diamond level. And quite frankly, the diamond is a very elite group. There are, I want to say, 25 total diamonds who have ever gone through the program. And I think right now there's probably maybe 20 who are active. So you see a diamond level CTSM out there on the market, and you probably want to snap those folks up. So
That's awesome.
It really is a valuable program. And again, like anything else, when you're looking at somebody who's certified, it's a whole lot more than just an order taker.
Yeah. And I love the beauty of the model in that you get to a certain level and now you're mentoring those.
Right.
Not only so as a CTSM candidate, you are getting mentored by people who've been there, done that, and then some.
Right.
But the fact that
I'm sorry, when you first sign up for the program, when you say, hey, I want to be a CTSM, and I can still remember this day when I signed up, it's like, okay, well, what do I do? What classes do I take? What order do I take this in? We'll give you a mentor. We'll assign somebody that you can go back to and you can ask questions, and they've gone through the program, and most of the time they're silver level or higher. And they've been around a while, they finish their portfolio, and they'll walk through with you and answer all those kind of questions, both as a mentor. And if you're smart, you'll start writing your portfolio really early. You'll bend the ear of your mentor until you're ready to officially start writing your portfolio, and then we'll give you an advisor. And a lot of times people will say, hey, you know what? My mentor's been helping me out. I would really love for them. Let's continue this process. Mm-hmm. So it really is building up a network, building up, friends in the industry. And like I started saying, as a trade show manager, you're probably the only one who does what you do at your company. You don't have anybody to talk to. This opens that door that, I can tell you dozens of trade show people who live in my immediate area that I can talk to at any given time. So it really does bring about the community aspect.
I love the community aspect, and it reminds me of and I talk about this sometimes in our other podcasts, and I'm part of a Canadian Association of Professional Speakers, which is like the NSA, the National Speakers Association in the US. And so that as soon as you're a member of that, right, it's kind of like you have now license you're in the club, right? And so I feel like it's similar with, like I'll take a call from any CAPS member, any NSA member, right? Like, you can have my ear kind of thing, right? And I think with that CTSM thing, soon as you kind of know the blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into earning that designation, you now have the respect of other CTSMs, and now you're in that like you say, you can get that, well, whether it's mentoring or get that advice or that second opinion or that sort of thing. So it's beautiful.
Well, so many times when you become a mentor and you reach out to somebody who they're brand new to the program, a lot of times they're apprehensive to engage because it's like, okay, they don't feel like they know as much. And that really is that's so much fun. You can almost see them walking around, and it's fun to engage them and say, tell me about you. Tell me how you got here. Tell me about your program. What are you doing? What's it look like? Because, everybody is kind of the same, but we're all very, very different. We may have the same exact job title, but the way you do your job, the way your company expects you to do your job is very, very different from what anybody else or how anybody else does it. So it's a tight community, and we all have different facets to share.
Awesome. Chris, before we wrap things up, I just want to say, is there anything we haven't talked about in the program that you'd want to bring up, that we haven't covered?
Put me on the spot.
I know, but I want to be thorough.
Well, so I can't speak enough about it. Is a very, very fun facet of marketing. Like I say, most people just fall into it. It would be so cool to get into colleges and point out, hey, you're young, you're new, You want to travel, you want to
Yeah.
eat good food, you want to meet cool people, you're not going to do that in most of the marketing jobs that you're going to get. The trade show manager, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And like I say, I kind of fell into it, and it wasn't until I really got into it that I started really traveling and learning going to different cities and states, or if your company does it, different countries. I think I have a strong passion for trade shows. I'm a marketing manager, and I can do all of it: SEO, email, print ads. I can do all of it, but my heart will always be in trade shows for that reason, because it's just so much fun. There's just something about stepping foot onto a trade show floor where all the it's cement floor. You just see some electrical cables run into different places, and then a week later, standing back when they open those doors and looking at what you've created, all the the lights, the hanging signs. It'll bring a tear to your eyes. It's
Yeah.
awesome. And
It's like a little city that pops up, right? Like it's just like
right,
for 3 days, it's there.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I can't speak highly enough about trade shows, and I think that the CTSM program is imperative to take you to the next level. So I love it. When I saw the job posting for the portfolio manager role, I told my wife, I was like, "Oh, this is perfect for me. This is
It is.
perfect." And she was like, "Well, can you do that in your job?" And it's like, "I don't care. I'm doing it. This is going to be awesome." And I love every time I sit down and read somebody new. Every time they submit their portfolio, I sit down and read it cover to cover and love every minute of it, because it's once again, it's a chance to see how everybody is the same, but we're all very, very different. So
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the program.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I that's a great place to end it. And I just want to say, Chris, first of all, if someone's listening to this, they go, okay, I got to dig into this. I got to find out more about it. Where should they go? Where should we point them to go? And then also, where can people reach out to you?
So the exhibitor group is the website that hosts the CTSM program. You can also find us at ctsm.com. And if you get there, like I say, I'm the portfolio manager. I manage that process, and you can reach out to me from the website, chris.bruce@exhibitorgroup.com. But again, you'll see my picture on the web page. There are a couple others of us that are involved. Olivia oversees the program, and Monica, she brings this all together. She's the important one at the top of the heap. So, and I tell people all the time, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Most of the people have, you got questions, and they all start with, "Hey, I got a stupid question." It's like, man, no, none of them are stupid. We've all been there. So reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to talk to you, tell you anything we can do to help you out.
Awesome. Awesome. I don't normally do this, but I want to challenge any listeners here to then send a link to this to any trade show marketer, whether it's at your company or your past company or whatever, and just to get this in front of them, so that they can share it with their higher ups, with their people.
So I was going to stop you. If you're watching this, if you're on LinkedIn and you've watched this and you're not a trade show person, but you're in the marketing industry, send it to your boss. Hey, did you know that there's a certification program? Don't send it to the trade show person. Send it straight up the top, and let's help those trade show people out.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris, for being here, spending the time, sharing your passion about the program and trade shows in general. I really appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you having me. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you. And to all of our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, you know what to do. Stay engaged. Thank you so much for listening to Engaging Personalities. If you believe this world needs more engagement and you're an industry leader or you have an interesting take on rehumanizing business, go to go.engagify.ai/podcast-guest to apply and come on the show. If you got something out of this interview, do you mind sharing it on your social media? Just grab a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on the socials. If you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show. Include the hashtag engaging personalities. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episode, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more? Go to our website, engagify.ai, or follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening and stay engaged.